Welcome to OSR Garage. We are going to look at all the electric vehicles at the Chicago Auto Show. In the past, they used to look like this, or maybe like this. But now, this is what they look like. So let's get to it. Alright, looks like the first thing we've got up is the 2024 Chevy Silverado. Prices start at $40,000 for the work truck version, up to $107,000 for this RST model. It also comes with 18-inch wheels up to 24-inch wheels, which is what it looks like we've got on this one here. Those are a pretty cool design. I really do like those. This has the same 200 kilowatt battery as the Hummer and is good for about a 400-mile range. The work truck we're expecting to be around 250 to 300 miles. Looks like it's got a pretty decent front trunk. I really like the lights on the front and it looks really cool. Yeah, there's a decent amount of room in that front trunk. I think you could put quite a few things in there. There you can see it's got the RST badge up there. Next to the Chevy logo, the Chevy bow tie. I'm not sure what the flashing blue lights going across the front there is. I think that might be when it's charging. It's kind of signifying that it's charging up. It's the only thing that I can think of. A lot of the other vehicles do that, kind of like the Rivian has a light bar across the front that glows green when it's charging. So here we're going to see that 11-inch driver display, and next to it is a 17-inch infotainment screen. Really about the closest I can get. And there's a decent amount of room in that back. Moving back around to the rear, the bed opens into the cab, so that you can put longer items in there. And I really like how it's got a stop on the flex tailgate. That's pretty cool. That way you don't have stuff sliding around and moving around in there. The only thing that I find might be an issue is in that rear cab area where you can open that up. What if some of the seals go bad over the years of opening it and closing it, and you start getting water in there? Or if you're hauling something, you got that open and it just starts pouring down rain on you. It also can charge at 350 kilowatts, and you will have 510 horsepower up to 664 horsepower. You got about 615 torque up to 780 torque, 0 to 60 in less than 4.5 seconds. So the next thing we got here is the 2022 Ford Lightning. This is a Lariat edition, and it does come with the 20-inch wheels and a spray and bed liner. Pricing starts at $39,000 for the Pro and goes up to $92,000 for the Platinum. Has a standard range battery, is 98 kilowatts, rated at 230 miles, and the long range battery, 131 kilowatts, is rated about 300 miles. Inside, it looks like a traditional F-150. Similar screens, got a 10-inch driver screen and 12-inch infotainment screen. And then you come around to this huge mega frunk. I have seen where they've put 2 sets of golf clubs in that front area. That's pretty good size then. There's also plug-ins on the inside of there. As you can see, the Lariat comes with a full light bar. They're standard all-wheel drive and comes with 426 horsepower with the small battery and 563 horsepower with the long-range battery. And towing on these, you get anywhere from 7,700 pounds up to 10,000 pounds. So next here we got the Ford Mustang Mach-e Premium. Similar front end as the ICE models, but a very different SUV crossover style rear end. This premium model starts at $50,000 depending on your configuration. And the extended battery with rear-wheel drive will get about 305-mile range and 266 horsepower. If you add the all-wheel drive to this, and you get 364 horsepower with 270 miles of range. All right, the next one we got here is the Mustang Mach-e GT Performance in Cyber Orange. These come with the 20-inch wheels and Brembo brakes. This GT Performance starts at $66,000. It comes with all-wheel drive, getting 480 horsepower and 634 foot-pounds of torque, with a 260-mile range. It's got a nice small driver display in front, and it also has a 15.5-inch infotainment screen. My brother has the same car, and I will do a review on this later on. This GT Performance can also go 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds, and it can charge at about 150 kilowatts. All right, here we go. The next one, we got the Hyundai Ioniq 5. It has a really good amount of room here in this back hatch, but not quite as big as some others. It's got an automatic closing rear hatch. So the one thing that a lot of people have complained is you can see that there's no rear wiper, and a lot of road debris. If it's raining, you're in a inclement weather, this gets covered up, and a lot of people complain that they can't see out the back window. So that might be something you might take into consideration when you're looking at these. Looks like there is a pretty decent amount of room in this back seat, and it's got a nice interior with a heads-up display. Now, it does have a frunk, but as you can see here, it's not a very big one. I think you probably hold the charging cord in there. That's just about it. Maybe a 6-pack. I do like that it's got this cool light bar going all the way across from the headlights to all the way to the other side. And I really do like the square pixel headlights. A girl just walked by and said, "Those headlights are so dope." So pricing starts at $41,000 and goes up to $55,000. You get rear-wheel drive with a 58 kilowatt battery. Gets 168 horsepower and 220 miles of range. There you can see these dual 12-inch screens. I really like the way that looks. I like the simple, small, compact interior here. It's got just a couple cup holders there. And right down here, you've got two USB-A ports, not USB-C. So I'm not sure why they chose to put USB-A ports in there. The seats are really firm, really nice looking seats. They look like they're really comfortable. So over here we've got another Ioniq 5 in a traditional gloss paint instead of that matte paint. The matte paint takes a lot of care, so you might think about that and find out some information on those if you're looking at matte paint. You can see the retro 80s style hatchback that this has, and I think that's one of the biggest draws to this. I think it's really cool. It really kind of takes you back. The rear part of this is really cool. Like I said, there's a good amount of room here. Just the styling is just awesome. So over here is the charge port. Nice press and open. It's got a little plug for the CCS port. And other than that, it just goes in and comes out really easy. And then you just got a little button that actually shuts it. All right, so now we got the 2022 Ford E-Transit cargo van. It has a lot of different configurations for the cargo area. These are starting out at $47,000. It comes with a 68 kilowatt battery, good for about 126 miles of range. You get rear wheel drive with 266 horsepower and 317 foot-pounds of torque. And it can charge from 15 to 80% in about 34 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the Toyota BZ4X. Now this is really cool. I really love the front end of this car. I think it looks great. And it does come with standard rear-wheel drive, but all-wheel drive is available, and they're using Subaru's all-wheel drive technology. Now the one thing I'm not a big fan of is these wheel wells. I don't like the way that they're black like that, and the front ones kind of come up over the top. I'd rather have them body colored. But I do like the silver and black contrast. The Toyota BZ4X is starting at just under $40,000. You get front wheel drive, gets 201 horsepower and 230 foot-pounds of torque. The all-wheel drive gets 215 horsepower and 260 foot-pounds of torque. Now this is one of the things that I think is the best electric vehicle here. A 1978 Ford F100 Illuminator. It's the first retrofit electric truck using two of Ford's Illuminator electric drive motors, which are the same ones that they use in the Mustang Mach-e GT Performance. So it has all-wheel drive, 480 horsepower, and 634 foot-pounds of torque. It's got the 88 kilowatt battery. Expect less than the 260 miles of range that the Mach-e gets, just because it's less aerodynamic because of the body of the F100. But they did a great job. I love the color combo, the primer gray with the orange accents. Everything is just done really well, including the colored bed liner. Here we've got some Toyota electric concept vehicles. We got a couple e-bikes, it looks like, and this autonomous delivery robot. But this is the thing that I think is really cool up here. This right here is what I think of, or what I thought of when I was a kid, of what a futuristic car was going to look like. And Toyota has nailed it right on the head. This is the Toyota Rhombus. It's futuristic looking, but it's very practical. I could see driving one of these to work, or maybe these could be used as a taxi. The wheels are pretty cool. The interior has a decent amount of space, and I'm not sure how comfortable it will be on long trips, but it just looks so aerodynamic. I mean, you can see the air would come out the sides there from the front. It does have a wild style to it. It's not going to be for everybody, but I think, all those areas that are going to pull in air and just push it out the sides, it's just going to knife through the air, even though it looks kind of bulky. But, that looks pretty cool to me. I would drive one to work every day. All right, so this here is the Subaru Solterra. It is similar to the Toyota BZ4X because they share the same platform, they share the same assembly line, they were designed together. And they're starting out at $40,000, 71 kilowatt battery. It's front wheel drive, gets 201 horsepower with 330 miles range. The all-wheel drive, 215 horsepower, 285 mile range. And it can charge at 150 kilowatts. The rear hatch area has a good amount of room. I'd say it actually has a pretty decent size amount of room. Got a small little trunk area underneath there for the charging port. So I was looking at these wheels, and these wheels just don't seem very aerodynamic. As you see some of the other ones, there's just small openings and a lot of plastic fill-in. Well, these aren't like that. These are like traditional 5-spoke rims. I don't understand. I think that they probably could be losing some range there with the drag off the wheels. But I'm sure that they did their testing and they're perfectly fine. And as you see, Subaru always comes with roof racks. That's part of their overlanding style that they do. You see on the inside there, I do not like this middle console. It's just big, it just takes up a lot of room, and I just don't think it's necessary. It does have a 7-inch driver display. Yeah, that console just makes it seem small and crowded in there. It's just way too much going on. That's the only thing that I don't like about it. Other than that, it looks like a nice, comfortable car. All right, you guys ready for the GMC Hummer? This thing is a monster. Tons of lights going across the front. Got these giant 24-inch wheels. I mean, this is just crazy. Well, that says 11,500 foot-pounds of torque. I don't think that's like the actual, like what we normally think of torque, but there's those lights going across the top and front that I was talking about. I mean, how many lights do you need across there? That's just crazy. And look at the tow hooks. Look at the size of those giant tow hooks. Those are definitely not going to break or have any issues getting pulled around. This side we can see how big the wheels and the tires are on this thing again, and these are some really cool step rails. Probably my favorite. I'd like to get some for my F-150, although I'm sure that they probably don't make them. These probably have some sort of a like a rock slider on the bottom of them. They're probably built to hold some weight. The Hummer is starting out at $80,000. Comes with a 200 kilowatt battery. It gets up to 350 miles in range. It's all-wheel drive with up to 1,000 horsepower and 1,100 torque. Comes with a spray-in bed liner, which that is really nice to have. And we're looking at numbers of 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Here we've got the interior. I really like the two-tone look. It's got a 12.3-inch driver display and a 13.4-inch infotainment screen. The towing capacity on this thing is 7,500 to 11,000 pounds, and the charging speed is 350 kilowatts. With that 200 kilowatt battery, you're going to need to be charging at 350 kilowatts or you're going to be sitting there all day. But other than that, I really do like the looks of it. Here we've got the 2022 Kia EV6. This is Kia's first fully electric vehicle. This is also in a matte silver finish. These are starting at $42,000 and going up to $57,000. I love the looks of this car. The rear-wheel drive version comes with a smaller 58 kilowatt battery and gets about 232 miles. The all-wheel drive with the larger 77.4 kilowatt battery gets about 310 miles. It looks to have a pretty decent amount of room here in the back. I look like I probably would fit in the back there fairly easily. The material looks really good. I like the two-tone look there. This is one of my favorite things. This light bar going across here, it is just awesome. Easily my favorite thing. Let's pop the hatch here and see what it looks like inside. And it's got a good amount of room. It's about the same as the Ioniq 5, it looks like. I think the wheels are really cool. I like those. It's just really stylish, really sporty looking. So here's another EV6. This one looks like it's kind of a pearl white. It's just like the Ioniq 5. It's very clean and simple on the inside. It's got two 12-inch infotainment screens to give you all the information that you need. The car will also charge at 350 kilowatts. Claims it can charge from 10 to 80% in about 18 minutes. Here's a Kia Niro. This is a smaller SUV crossover. Starting at 41,000, going up to 46,000. It's got 201 horsepower. It's front wheel drive. Looks like it's a little smaller on the inside. I don't know how comfortable people would be in that back seat, especially if you had, say, a driver around 6 foot. The range on these, you get a range of 239 miles with a 64 kilowatt battery. Here the charging port is right up front, and I do like that these plugs, if you pull the bottom plug, it pulls out both of them. That's pretty cool. You also get a 7-inch driver display and a 10-inch infotainment screen. Oh, this is pretty awesome. Here we have a 2024 Kia Concept EV9. This SUV is pushing the limits. A lot of squared off lines and strange angles. The wheels are pretty wild. I haven't ever seen anything like that. I don't know if that's even functional, how it's gonna hold together. Starting price should be around $50,000 and go up to somewhere around $65,000. I think it's giving you an option of a rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive and get up to a 300-mile range. The back of it really looks like a Telluride, or very similar to the Telluride. And it claims to have a 350 kilowatt charging speed. The dash, from what I can tell, the dash looks like the EV6 with the two screens, but apparently this one has a 27-inch infotainment screen. Alright, so here is the Nissan Ariya. This has a nice look to it. From the sides, kind of seems a little bulky. Starting at $47,000, going up to $60,000. It's got front wheel drive with a 63 kilowatt battery. Gets up to 265 miles. all-wheel drive version will get an 87 kilowatt hour battery and get up to 300 miles. I'm not a big fan of the rear end part. It looks like a little bulky, kind of looks a little strange how that kind of comes out and then cuts back in. I don't really like that. But the wheels are really nice. I like the front end. It's got that traditional Nissan look to it. So everybody knows that it's going to be a Nissan coming. Let's try to look inside here. It looks, we got a little bit of a glare, but it looks like it's got a good amount of room in the back seat. So I don't think there'd be an issue there. And just like the EV6 and the Ioniq 5, it has that simple, clean look to it and that dual 12-inch screen going across the front. And I like that it has that one little driver switch there in the middle to switch between drive and park and everything. It looks pretty cool. All right, here we've got the EV ride-along. This is the first time I've seen a red EV6. I like that red color. It looks pretty good. And following that up, we've got a BMW iX. Kind of a tealish color. That's a new color I haven't seen. And here's a EV6 in black. It looks, no, that's blue. That's a really dark blue. If you look at the top of your screen, they're going to launch this EV6. And here is the Hyundai Kona. This is a very small SUV and crossover, kind of like the Kia Niro and the Chevy Bolt. These are pretty popular in Europe and very simple and practical. Charge port is located in the front of this one. These start at $35,000 and go up to $43,000. Get 201 horsepower with a 64 kilowatt battery, good for 258 miles. 0 to 60 in 6.4 seconds. Thanks for joining me. Check out my other videos, subscribe, like, and I will see you later.